Good morning, Meredith. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How about you, Carl?
I am excited. I'm excited because we have some exciting news to share with everyone. Do you
Ooh,
want to do
you
the big
tell.
reveal or do you
You
want me?
tell.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. Why not? We are super excited because finally we can tell everyone that our book is available. Our second book, Delivering the Digital Restaurant Path to Digital Maturity. Do you want to take a look? Let's bring it up. Let's have a look. Here it is, Meredith. What do you
Oh, it's
think?
a nice looking book.
Needs a bit more presence on screen. There we go.
I like it.
So I'm excited because this feels like it's a necessary add-on to the original. Maybe I could start today by asking you, why do you think it's a necessary add-on, and why did we get into this? Because we started, if I may remind you, we started with the idea of just writing a bonus chapter. Do you remember? And then it
Yeah.
started to get into something more, and then we ended up saying this isn't really a pamphlet, so where should we take this? And then we said, well, actually, let's do this
Whole
properly.
book. Whole book. Yep. And
And
here we are.
why did we do this, Meredith?
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to everyone for the reception of the first book. We for sure would not write a second book if we were not motivated by all the positive feedback from everyone on the first book. And so thank you for buying it. Thank you for recommending it to friends. Thank you for passing along your used copy to someone else you think needs to read it. And thank you for all the reviews on Amazon that help other people, strangers, find the book. That's really gratifying. And I think, especially for an author, the most amazing thing is when someone you don't know contacts you and says, I really got a lot out of this. Just a wonderful thing. And that is all fantastic. But of course, the number one piece of feedback that we get is, hey, this book is great about telling me why this is happening, what exactly is happening, who's leading the charge. But I need more on what specifically I and my restaurant should be doing about it. And over the last 18 months since the book came out, Carl, you and I have been doing a lot of public speaking. And a lot of what we've been talking about is these much more specific action steps that restaurants should be taking in this new digital world. We reached the conclusion that there was a lot of really good content here that probably needed to be shared more broadly than just whoever happened to be in the room or on the webinar that we were talking with. And we started writing the bonus chapter. The bonus chapter became three bonus chapters became a booklet became a book, and next thing, here we are. I hope that everyone finds it just a really helpful, action-oriented companion book to the first one.
Yeah, I agree. It is very much a playbook of sorts. The tonality is definitely different. I think you'd say perhaps the first one was very business orientated in the sense that we really delved into the depths of why all this was happening. And the how, as you talk about it there, I think, Meredith, is important because what we try to do here is almost demonstrate a linear path that restaurants should think of what's happening in the industry right now. That's why the subtitle there, The Path to Digital Maturity, is so important because we lay out specific steps. And in many ways, the chapters and the outline of the chapters follow those steps along. And everyone will have a different journey for sure. It's not suggesting that there's only one particular way to reach digital maturity. The whole
Mhm.
intent here is to help restaurants find their place and then focus on becoming pretty decent in that particular area before perhaps progressing on. And I think it's really important right now because restaurateurs are thinking, where do I put my investment money? Where do I think I should focus my time and my energy and learn where I need to learn before moving on to the next step on that pathway? So maybe it will be helpful for us to perhaps give a bit of a highlight on what the path looks like. Do you want to give us where the path starts on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So it opens with those third parties, which I think are the easiest way to get online and be found. And we broadly define third parties to include not just the marketplaces, but also Google search engine, where now you have things like Google Order when your restaurant pops up. We talk a lot about these because although restaurants, I think, have had a bit of a love hate relationship with these third party marketplaces, they are incredibly important to making your brand known to hungry consumers. And so we talk in this first chapter about how specifically restaurants should optimize their presence on these third party platforms and really drive sales. We then move over to the importance of first party ordering channels and the all important topic of getting consumers to order direct. I would say first party conversion is one of the most frequently asked questions that we've received this last year. Don't you think, Carl?
I think it's the thing that will probably be most valued from maybe the entire book. So it's an important chapter.
Yeah, this chapter, we talk about how do you think about creating a great first party experience? What are the elements of a great first party experience because we constantly say, Carl, don't we, that no amount of discounting will overcome a lot of friction. And so we spend a lot of time talking about how do you eliminate that friction in your first party experience. And then once you have, what are some of the things you can do to get consumers to know that you have one and to use it instead of third parties? Now, caveat, just because you tell them and you have a great experience doesn't mean they're going to move over. Some people are always going to use the third parties. Some people get subsidized by their employers. Some people have a dash pass and they are always going to use them. And that is part of the reason why you have to embrace them and figure out how to play nicely with them and take advantage of the great service they offer, which is a way to find hungry consumers.
And then from that, we then say that's not the end of the story, because when you can start generating extra volume through your third party and your first party channel, you've got to then start to understand more about the ability for you to keep those channels open and optimize your operation. Because in a way, the digital side of the business isn't in isolation from the rest of the business. I think most restaurateurs over the last couple of years have found it increasingly difficult to be able to say, well, how do I combine all of these things together? In fact, in the original book, Meredith, that's why we talked about drive-through. When drive-through took 10 plus years to proliferate into the US restaurant industry, it did so because it had such an impact also to the standard operations of the restaurant business model. And what we're advocating for here is to say our operation is getting increasingly complex because of the delivery, because of takeout, because of the off premise channel. And so, for that reason, you also need to think about how you operate your business as well. And so, we delve into the depths of capacity management, how to truly understand the utilization of your kitchen. What are some of the tips that you can learn from the experts in this space to really optimize the throughput capacity that you have? And then from that, once I've identified that capacity and how much capacity I have, what other ways can I grow my business?
Then we get into detail on growing your business with virtual brands and ghost kitchens. The first book talked about these as ideas that would come very futury. What has happened in the last few years is that they have become ideas that are. These are choices that restaurateurs are facing every day. Should I go into a ghost kitchen? Should I add a virtual brand to my existing restaurant? Should I make my brand into a virtual brand? Restaurants are facing these questions every single day, and it can be a bit confusing to sort through all the various options that restaurants have. So we dive deep into those options and talk about how a restaurant should decide which path to choose.
And the path is not yet finished. We then go into the angle of the importance of data. Because by now, if you're at this particular juncture on the path, then you've actually got a huge amount of data within your business. And how you utilize that data, both in terms of for your operation, but perhaps more pertinently for your guests, and how you're using that data to formulate a true digital restaurant experience, no matter which channel they engage with you. And I think this is an area which is going to be particularly exciting over the years ahead, because it's really an area where it's still very nascent. There's a lot of technology companies that are really starting to dedicate a lot of time and resource into this. And I think restaurants are going to really be able to stand to benefit from it.
That's exactly right. There is so much still to happen. We love Noah Glass's phrase, the digital entirety, when restaurants take digital orders regardless of channel. And that is going to spit off so much data, and there's going to be so many interesting things that we can do with that. But we're very much at the front end of it today. So the question is for your restaurant, what do you need? What should you be putting in? And how should you be using that information? Where does it go beyond that? Then we get into the true future stuff, which is about what the future business model of a restaurant even looks like, where your restaurant might fit into that, how you disrupt your own restaurant to become truly that future model, and then ending the book with a little chat with our friends at the technology companies.
Absolutely. This term that we use is holistic technology in this particular area. And it's a call out to the technologists to say, you have a role in this as well, because for restaurateurs truly to reach the zenith of digital maturity, the technology needs to continue to evolve, not just in terms of the functionality, but in the way in which it speaks to itself and other parts of the technology ecosystem. And the better the technology can talk to different parts of the overall system, the better the restaurant will function, and ultimately the better the customer experience will be. And that, we think, is really a great point to finish at least the path at this stage of where we think the digital restaurant needs to reach. So we think there's going to be a lot of value here for restaurateurs, no matter where they are on the digital maturity pathway. And we think there's going to be a lot of value there for the technologists that are building the solutions for restaurants. We hope that those of you that enjoyed the first book will see how complementary the second book is. We're looking forward to hearing from everyone and seeing exactly what you think. Within each of the chapters, there are a whole range of different tips. There are interviews again with some of the leaders in our space, some from the first book and new folks that we didn't get around to speak to the first time. And also worksheets that are going to be downloadable through our website, which will allow folks to really ask themselves the questions, so to dig deep inside to say, what do I need to really assess whether I am at this particular stage or not? Meredith, how do people get the book?
Little shout out for my dog there in the background. He loves the
Kobe.
book.
He's going to be our key marketing force, I suggest.
I think so. Nobody can resist a Shiba. It's true, especially on the internet. Getting the book, pretty easy. There are, of course, two ways. There is the marketplace way, little marketplace known as Amazon, and the book is now available for order on Amazon. So you can head there, look up Delivering the Digital Restaurant. The two books will come up. That blue one is the first one, and the one over here that you see that's more white and green is the second one, called The Path to Digital Maturity. If you want to support the First Party channel, you can do that, can't you, Carl? How do you do that?
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you reminded about the first party channel. Of course, our own website, deliveringthedigitalrestaurant.com, is available for you to go to get a special combo deal. So if you're one of those folks that have yet to get your own copy of the first book, Delivering the Digital Restaurant, Your Roadmap to the Future of Food, and you like the idea of getting this new book, then you can get the two together for a special combo price. So head to deliveringthedigitalrestaurant.com and you'll be able to get both books sent to you, signed by both Meredith and I. I know we're going to put a lot of content out there talking about the new book. I'm excited to do some more publicity with you on this, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest. Again, we're really appreciative of each of you to help us spread the word. We'd love to see some more selfies out there with your copy of the book. Tell us what you think of the book. I'm sure you'll say we've missed a few things out. And if that's the case, then I'll get to work and try and convince Meredith to write a third book a year down the line. Don't count your chickens on that one. Hopefully we've done it right this time around. Meredith, thank you as ever. Looking forward to getting started with this book release. And if you want to go to Amazon or to Delivering the Digital Restaurant and get your copy, then you can do that right now.